talk a little bit about what we are going to be doing as a youth ministry and what our youth ministry is doing currently. So obviously, we aren't having youth group because gatherings of 10 or more are discouraged, and we obviously want to protect our students in any way that we can. Obviously, your students are home from school for a while now, and we know that means parents, you have your kids at home with you, which is awesome in some senses, and presents for you and for them new challenges on a day-to-day basis. Routines are messed up and changed, and things look a little bit different. And while all of that's happening, we as your as servants to you and to your students, we have come up with some plans and some hopes and some dreams. After talking with different leaders in our youth ministry, we've come up with some ideas to kind of help during this time. The first of those is we will not be stopping engaging with your students. We plan on continuing to constantly engage with your students just over social media mediums as opposed to face-to-face mediums. And so what that'll look like is you'll be seeing a lot more from us on Facebook and on Instagram, as well as finding ways for your students to talk to each other over things like Zoom. And so here's what we're thinking. Because we can't gather together to go over this Lent series that we as a church are in right now on Wednesday nights like the youth normally do, what we're going to try to do is Pastor Jesse and myself are going to get together and shoot devotional videos for Wednesday nights. And what we would love and what we would encourage is for you as families to get together with your students and go through these devotionals. Your Lent series devotional, if you don't have it, we can still make available to you. We can still get you one. And we would be happy to do so. And so what we'd love is for you to read the Wednesday devotional together and watch the little mini sermons that we'll send to you. And then, of course, we'll provide some questions for you to have around the dinner table or just in the living room. What we want is to make space for God in the living room in any way that we can. Because first and foremost, we are trying to minister to you as a family. And so we want to be able to do that to the best of our ability. And then the next thing we're going to do is, because we can't meet on Sunday mornings normally, and a lot of your students join us for Sunday school, our Sunday school teachers, Jen and Ryan Huffman, will be creating some social media posts on Sunday mornings, kind of going back through what they have learned. It's just reminders for our students who have been going through this year-long Bible series with them. And so this will be a way for your students to be reminded of some of the things that they've discussed and be able to ponder on those things. And those things will be available again on Instagram, as well as Facebook. We recognize that there are so many social media platforms, but right now those are the two that we're going to try to utilize as often as we possibly can. And then, of course, GCNAS as a whole will be live streaming our services on Sunday mornings, and we would highly encourage that all students and parents, we are presenting a unique opportunity to see family ministry look drastically different than normal. This is an amazing opportunity, we think, for you as parents and for you as students to get to talk with each other about faith. So often the church well-intentionally separates youth ministry from adult ministry, and there's nothing wrong with that, and we believe that that's a beautiful expression and creates beautiful spaces for dialogue at different stages in life. Yet right now we're presented with something different. Our usual ministries are going to look a little different, and so the youth ministry, we'd like to treat this as a time of family ministry. And the next thing that we're going to be doing is some of our sponsors are going to start using Zoom to create small group meetings, so to speak, for different students throughout the youth group. And so we've taken our roster of students and we've split up between different leaders in the youth ministry, different groups of students together. And so what you'll see is your kids will be meeting, hopefully over digital means, the app called Zoom, which they can download on their phone or on a computer. and they'll be sent a link by a leader in the youth ministry to be able to gather together with other students who participate in the youth ministry with them, and they'll get a chance to hang out and talk for a while. And this will be a chance for our sponsors to see how your kids are doing, but also a chance for your kids to hang out with their friends over the internet. And we think that it's a way to keep them social while respecting social distancing. Now, today, as I was studying and kind of resting in Scripture, a passage of Scripture came to my mind. It's 1 Corinthians 13, starting at verse 4. This is a passage most of you will know very, very well. It says this: love is patient, love is kind, love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. Love never ends. Church, I find this to be an uplifting and challenging passage in this time. You see, where we're practicing social distancing, I'm reminded of something that nowhere in that passage does it say that love has to be physically present. What it does say is and expresses is a lot of attitudes. And so during this time where your students are having to be distant from their friends or from their peers or from their school spaces, I'm reminded of this, that while we can't be physically around your students right now, as we're practicing social distancing, love is an attitude. It is something that is ever present in our hearts and in our minds. We are not left away from love, ever. God is present with us. And as we participate in life with God and life with each other, love is found. Whether it's physically in a room with somebody like you are with your kids, or whether it's over a Zoom conference meeting, as hopefully your students will be engaging with each other. Love is found in the attitudes of our hearts. And so I would encourage you during this time, don't lose heart. Know that there is space for God in your home and with your kids and with your relationship with your kids. Our routines are messed up. Society is just a little weird right now. We're panicking, yet there's hope. We know this, that the God of the universe is with us and wants to be with us and calls us to love our neighbor as ourselves. And love is an attitude. We can be at distance from each other and still express the most beautiful forms of love through a smile, through a wave, through joy and goodness. I hope you know that your youth ministry is praying for you and for your students, that I am praying for you and your students. If you need anything at all, let us know. They're crawling out of their skin at home. Call us. Let us know. We want to serve you as best as we possibly can. We believe right now in expressing the greatest attitude of love that we can. And so if you need to call on us, please do. We're here to support you and love and care for you. Go with blessings and know that you are desperately loved.